Hi Taurus, welcome to your September 2019 Astrology 33 reading. Thank you to those of you who've liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. And I do want to say that I won't be doing personal readings for a while. I might resume them by the time I post the October videos, but stay tuned for that. I just have a lot going on for a bit, so it doesn't seem to make sense to offer personal readings when I may not be able to get them done on time. So just wanted to put that out there. And also, as far as the love readings go, those should be out in a couple weeks, probably around Labor Day, most likely. So just wanted to get all that out of the way. So, as far as this spread, you have a Celtic Cross spread in front of us, as always. I think you only got a couple extra cards there. I pulled cards from 2 Oracle decks. You got an extra card in one of those. And then we also have a Mudra card. So, plenty to get to. And also, let me just point out a couple of quick things that I was getting as I was laying out the cards. One, I will say if you were born on May 4th, this might resonate with you a bit more, and I'll get to why I say that when we get to the Oracle cards. And then also, I was picking up on a bit of a pregnancy vibe, but there were 2 distinct groups there. One group would be some of you may have found out that you got pregnant during the time of Gemini. And for those of you, if that's the case, I feel for the majority of you, it may not have been expected. Just wanted to put that out there. And then for others of you, most likely those of you who are actually in a committed relationship, you may actually be having a bit of conflict around pregnancy. So just wanted to put that out there. I'm not going to let those themes dominate the whole readings, but yeah, some of you, I'm really getting the vibe, might have found out that you got pregnant during the time of Gemini and may actually, in that case, you'd be giving birth around the time of Pisces, because I see that card here that represents Pisces and the Empress card there. And for others of you, there may actually be some conflict around pregnancy where I feel like you guys might not want to have children, but the person you're with may want to. All right, so now with that out of the way, let's get into the main spread. First, in the main situation position, we have the Judgment card. So this would represent something coming back around that you may not have thought would have come back around, especially. And for you guys in particular, to me, this is already a Scorpio card. I view the Death card as the death side of the Scorpio energy, and this is the rebirth side of that energy. And with that said, this could definitely be a relationship coming back around that maybe you didn't think had a chance of coming back around. And it may actually be possibly either with the Gemini or a connection that ended around the time of Gemini. And we'll get to why I say that in a little bit. But yeah, just overall, this represents something coming back around that you may not have, thought I had a chance to. I also pick up on a slight pregnancy vibe here as well, because if we look at where he's pointing that horn, it's pointed at the female. And so for some of you, what it could be around pregnancy is you might not have thought you could conceive. So that might have been where the surprise element came in, whether you feel like you're past that age where you could conceive, or, maybe you've just been told medically, oh, you're not able to conceive, whatever the case may be around that. But that's a slight vibe I'm picking up there. In the Challenger obstacle position, we have the Knight of Swords card. So this actually is a court card that represents Gemini. That's why I say for some of you, this could be a connection with a Gemini coming back around. And also, again, why I say it might have been something that ended during the time of Gemini. And if that were the case, it might have been a bit of an abrupt ending, too, that you might not have seen coming. Now, this could also represent that maybe there's difficulty there, too, as far as getting. Like, maybe you want this connection to come back around, but maybe it's a bit contentious between the two of you. Or maybe it's a challenge for you to express to this person that you want to get things back off the ground. For example, let's just say this is a bit of a generic thing, but you guys have had Uranus moving through your sign. Sometimes that's known to be a transit that can make people want to have a little bit more freedom, right? So maybe this was something that you might have broken off. And now, with Uranus going retrograde, you might be, looking a bit more inward and asking yourself, okay, well, was I really better off splitting from the relationship, or do I want to possibly revisit it? Just wanted to put that out there. That could be what's going on. And also, I will say, we did recently come out of a retrograde. I'm actually recording this a couple days after that Aquarius full moon, and Mercury officially came out of shadow a couple days ago as well. So that could be also saying that, maybe with that forward momentum now, you could actually try to get things back together. But yeah, in the foundation position, we have the Ten of Swords. So that's why I definitely feel that this was around some ending of some sort. And also why I point to saying that it could have been around the time of Gemini for some of you, because this represents the last 10 degrees of Gemini. So, it could have been, let's say, between the 10th and 20th of June, give or take a couple days on either side. That could have been when this ending took place. And like I said, it could have been a bit abrupt with the Knight of Swords there. Try to see if anything else comes to mind with this. This could also just be saying that this is something you've really been mulling over for a long time as well. Or this could just be pointing to the length of the relationship. You might have been with the person for 10 months, maybe even 10 years for some of you. So that's what I'm seeing with that. In the past position, we have the Two of Cups and the Knight of Pentacles. So there's a few ways that this could be playing out with this combination of cards. This actually represents the first 10 degrees of Cancer. So this could even just be saying that bleeding in towards the very end of June as well. Maybe, that seemed like maybe you guys were going to get things back off the ground, right? Maybe there was an attempt at that point to get things back off the ground, but maybe just felt like things were moving too slowly. So you might have just ditched the idea and thought, okay, well, this isn't going to happen. For some of you, this could also just be saying that maybe you were dealing with a Virgo. This could even be that some people were planning on proposing to you around the time of Virgo, which would be the time that we're going to be in now, basically, as far as at the time that this reading's taking place, for September. Trying to think if anything else comes to mind with these two cards. But yeah, it could have been a speed thing too, where maybe you might have seen a lot of potential in the connection, or maybe the other person was the one who saw that potential, but things might have moved a bit more slowly than either you or they were expecting. So that could have maybe been what caused the ending, right? Maybe there was someone who wanted the relationship to progress to another level where the other person did not. And I have to point out as well, not to just totally focus this around relationships. This could also be related to work as well, and I'll get to why I think that's the case when we talk about these cards here in the present. In the present, we have the Empress and we have the Two of Swords. So the Empress is a lot of the times referred to as one of the major arcana cards for your sign. The main one is the Hierophant, but since there is the clear Venusian influence there and a very earthly surrounding, right, that she's in, this could certainly represent your sign as well. This also does indicate to me pregnancy sometimes, but this could just be saying that you're feeling back, comfortable in your own skin. For some of you, another way that I do see this, though, when I do get the two cards that come out together, with this being underneath it, this could just be saying that on the surface you're giving off this vibe, but underneath it you're really having some anxiety here around something, and it could be around this connection resurfacing, whether it's the person coming back around throwing you for a loop, or maybe, you're really on the fence about, can I let this person know that, yes, I do want to get things back off the ground, right? And then for some of you, if that pregnancy vibe is resonating with you, it could also be saying that as well, that you're really on the fence about, okay, do I really want to do this, right? So like I said, maybe someone came to you, and maybe that could even been what caused the separation. Maybe they were like, hey, I really want to have children, and you're like, yeah, I'm not really feeling it. And maybe now you're like trying to warm up to the idea a little bit, but underneath it all, you're still really not sure if that's something you want to do. And then also, I did mention the work thing. This would represent your sixth house as well. So this could just be saying that maybe a job offer from the past that, maybe you'd applied for it, especially if you applied for it during the retrogrades, right? Maybe you thought it wasn't going to happen. They might have even flat out told you, yeah, we're giving the job to someone else. And now maybe all of a sudden, for whatever reason, maybe the other person quit, or maybe they, just never showed up. Maybe now all of a sudden the offer comes back around to you, and now you might be a bit hesitant, like, okay, can I trust this? Like you might have really been excited about it, right? In the past, you might have thought, oh, this is exactly what I was looking for, right? You happy about it? They might have even told you, hey, yes, we're going to start this around the time of Virgo, right? Or they might have just even flat out gave you the offer and then pulled it away suddenly. So some weirdness there with the work dynamic, but that could be what's going on, where, maybe something that you thought you were totally all about it at one point, maybe you just gave up on the thought of it happening, and now all of a sudden it's coming back around, and now you're like, okay, well, can I really trust it? Because in the near future position, we have the Nine of Wands. So this is actually an energy of just being a bit hesitant, almost waiting for the other shoe to drop. That's the kind of vibe that I get with this card. And if we look at how they are in the spread, they're looking right at that judgment. So this could just be saying that whatever's coming back around, they're still a little bit wary, like, okay, can I really trust this? What's the deal? Might have been, whether it's a relationship, this might have been someone who hurt you or a connection that hurt you, right? So you're like, well, can I really get back into it? This might have actually been something long-standing as well with the Nine Wands there too, which is to say that there was a lot of build-up behind this. So let's say it was a career path. Maybe it was a field that you've put a lot of work into, and all of a sudden maybe you were laid off, for example. Maybe that's one way it could have played out, and now all of a sudden they want you back, right? And you're like, okay, well, can I trust that? Sometimes this is also, to me, someone not having enough belief in themselves. Like if we look at them, like he's holding that one wand and then there's the 8 behind him. It's like he could only see that one, and he thinks to himself, well, what do I have to offer, right? Whether it, like maybe it is a job that now you're a bit hesitant, you're getting a little bit of anxiety, like, oh, can I really do this? And with those 8 wands behind him, it's saying, it's like, hey, you have plenty of experience, you've been around the block, you know what you're doing. You're just a little hesitant to believe in that for some reason. Now, on the position of your influence on the situation, we have the Nine of Cups. So this is interesting because there does seem to be some contentment there, but I'm trying to pick up on, is that actually like true contentment, or is this just the vibe that you're trying to give off to, the people around you? Because like I said, with that Empress there, it's interesting to me that beneath that we have the Two of Swords. And in the near future, we have another 9 energy along with that, right? Which is that energy of, okay, yeah, this offer's here, right? But can I trust it? So this could just be you saying that, hey, I'm not, I'm happy with where I'm at, right? Like you could even just be doing one of those things where you might be coming out of a position of ego in a way where whatever, like this person hurt you, or this, job situation hurt you, and you're trying to give off the vibe like, oh, I don't even need that, I'm fine. So that could be one way it's playing out, because this is often referred to as wish fulfillment energy, but if we look at the person's body language and the facial expression, it could be a bit smug as well, so almost like being stubborn just for the sake of it. So that could be what's going on there for some of you. But in a more positive sense too, though, this could just be saying that this is you regaining that confidence, because you have the Empress in the present, but with that Two of Swords, it could show that there is some anxiety there, right? But maybe you're overcoming it, because the Nine of Wands can also represent overcoming it, right? Because let's say we look at that bandage there, instead of seeing that as a bandage, which is the most common interpretation, given, how it looks like this person's been through some battles, right? Let's say that it's actually, if we want to look at it as that, well, it doesn't want to focus for some reason, but if we want to look at that as the blindfold that we see in the Two of Swords, right? And maybe this is saying that, you're coming out of that anxiety somewhat, and actually you are feeling comfortable in your own skin now. For those of you, if you might have resonated with that pregnancy vibe I was talking about, where you might have found out that you actually conceived during the time of Gemini, this is a card that represents the middle 10 degrees of Pisces. So basically, if you did conceive in the time of Gemini, 9, right? We see the 9 there numerically, but 9 months from then would be the time of Pisces. So this could just be you finding out that you're pregnant, like I said, and that, your due date would be around that time. This could also be, for those of you, like I said, I'm seeing a couple different angles with the pregnancy thing. For some of you where there is a relationship and maybe it even ended, this could be you saying that, I don't think I want to go that route, right? I'm content with where I'm at. I don't really want to have kids. And the reason why I was saying at the beginning that the person you're dealing with is probably, for those of you in the relationship, more likely to be the one who wanted children is because in the position of the environment, we have the Tower. So that could be what's going on there. It could be that you're of one mind about the situation and they're of another, and you basically standing your ground here and saying, nope, I don't want to do it. This could really cause that Tower moment for them, because maybe they've really, really dreamed about this, right? It's something they really want, but you're like, yeah, I'm not really, it's not something I want to do right now. So, and I don't know if that, could there have been some dishonesty around it at some point, or maybe your perspective shifted. I don't know. As far as, maybe in the past you did discuss that and it was something that was on the table, and now you're saying, yeah, I'm not really, looking forward to doing that at this time. Like maybe because your career is taking off, for example, you're like, you know what, this just isn't the right time. Maybe somewhere down the line, but right now it doesn't work for me. And maybe, they really had their heart set on it. So obviously that could cause that Tower moment for them. This could also, keep in mind that this is the energy of the environment. So it doesn't necessarily have to mean that this is how someone else is feeling. It could just also be the energy in the air, which is to say, for example, maybe when we see that anxiety there with the Two of Swords, really trying to think something over, where on the surface you're trying to play it cool, but really, it's rattling you a little bit. That could just be saying that that Tower moment is this connection coming back around that you didn't think had a shot in hell of coming back around. Or maybe even, like I said, for those of you, if it's a job offer, this job offer comes back around out of the blue, and you're like, oh, okay, well, what am I going to do now? And for others of you, this could just even be shifts in your spirituality. This could represent something involving your crown chakra. If we look at the imagery there, and then we actually do see in one of your oracle cards that purplish color, which is basically like the crown chakra color. So there's also that at play. I'm trying to see if anything else comes to mind. And on a more surface level, this could just even be you just really partying with your friends, because this is a Pisces energy, and Pisces is your 11th house of friendships. Maybe you're going out partying, and let's say you find out you're pregnant, right? Then all of a sudden, all right, I guess I won't be going out and partying anymore, right? That could be one way it's playing out too, how those two cards could play together. But what I will say is, to always be safe, if you want to, you could just carry a protection stone with you. The one that I usually recommend to people when I see the Tower card is I usually recommend black tourmaline, just because it has striations. Well, raw black tourmaline does. That reminds me of the striations we see there. And I also think of the story of Devil's Tower as a similar protection vibe that you get from black tourmaline. So, worst case, you guys could carry some black tourmaline around with you if you're worried about anything crazy happening in your environment. But overall, there's a lot of supportive energy for you guys this month, because we're going to have a whole lot of energy in Virgo, obviously, which is a fellow earth sign for you in your 5th house. And then also, as all those planets pass through Virgo, they're going to trine Uranus in your sign, and then they're also going to trine Pluto and Saturn. So pretty supportive energy as a whole. Trying to think of what anything in particular that this would be revolving around, but there's not really any harsh aspects coming up this month, astrologically speaking. But again, the Tower moment, part of the whole deal with it is unpredictability, right? So, uh, like I said, worst case, just carry a little black tourmaline with you. It's fairly inexpensive. And let me see. It could I honestly be, especially with all the fifth house energy that's going to be going on this month. This could just be something like maybe, let's say, something you did complete in the past. Maybe it could even be a writing project. Maybe you had a blog or you started a website and it wasn't really, moving the needle. All of a sudden, out of the blue this month, it might get really busy. And you might be like, whoa, where the hell did this come from? So the overall result of it might be like, all right, now you're getting your wish fulfillment, but things might have been really slow for you. Where like, okay, does anyone even notice exist? You might have just been really slow. Your business might have been really slow, and all of a sudden, boom, out of the blue, it seems to pick up. That could be another way that that's playing out as well. So, to see these two cards, it doesn't always have to be doom and gloom. But yeah, with the relationship dynamic, I will say it looks like you might be really standing your ground. That's the main thing that I'm getting with these two cards. If it is for those of you in a relationship already, you might really be standing your ground on something most likely involving children and, maybe not wanting to have any at this time, and then that throws the other person for a loop. In the hopes or fears position, we have the Page of Cups. So actually, with this, I would say for those of you, this might be more of a fear. And again, this almost makes me think of that pregnancy vibe. This could just be saying that for whatever reason, like right now, this just might not be a good time for you, or at least you feel it's not, That's really what I'm picking up there primarily. And like I said, maybe some of that will change for some of you with all the fifth house energy you will have, right? Maybe it'll shift your perspective a little bit, but those are mostly short-term transits, so could just be for some of you, again, you could just be finding out that you're pregnant, and maybe that freaks you out, because maybe it was unexpected. Like I said, maybe something happened around the time of Gemini, and maybe you ended up breaking up with that person, and you're like, well, great, now all of a sudden, here I am expecting, so now maybe that's why there's this Knight of Swords in the challenge position, because it's like, well, now I have to open communication with this person and let them know, hey, so by the way, we're expecting, so maybe you have to repair that connection, and that might throw them for a loop because they're like, oh, well, what the hell, so that could be how that's playing out. In the position of the outcome, we have the Nine of Swords and the Seven of Cups. So again, I'm picking up that anxiety vibe again. So this is 3 nines, basically. So again, going back to the pregnancy thing, right? 9 months. 1, 2, 3. 3 nines. With the Seven of Cups. And this is actually a Scorpio energy too. So again, going back to the relationship thing, like I was saying with the Judgment card. Yeah, you just seem like you're really undecided around something. Now, like I said, for some of you, this could totally be, and I'm almost picking up on that even more now, where this could be something that you had out there already that lied dormant. Could have even been, you might have proposed an idea for a script to someone, right? A movie script or something, and it seemed like you were getting shot down. Maybe people flat out told you they weren't interested. Now all of a sudden they say they want to, actually take it on, and you're like, where the hell did this come from? And now there's the adjustment behind that. And maybe now all of a sudden, there are offers coming from multiple places, and you're like, I don't know which one to accept, So there definitely could be some spotlight energy, basically for all the earth signs this month, but, it could really be taking place for you with all of the fifth house energy. Which, that's fifth house energy is naturally a Leo energy. So if you think of it that way, that could tend to put you in the spotlight in some ways when you have those transits going on. And, for some of you, this could just still be around that same topic, whatever it is, whether it be a job offer that, maybe comes back around that you weren't expecting and you're trying to play it cool on the surface. But really, I'm seeing that, there is a little bit of anxiety with that Nine of Wands, the Nine of Swords, the Two of Swords underneath the Empress. So that could be what's going on there, too. At the bottom of the deck, we have the Four of Cups as well, which is also an energy of, maybe getting some offers that you're not really necessarily happy with. And, I'm not going to go through the whole deck here, but we also have the High Priestess under that too. So I would say this is a pretty good indicator. For me anyway, this points to saying that you should be able to trust your intuition around whatever decision it is you need to make there. So whether it's, do I have kids? Do I not have kids? Do I tell this person that I broke up with that I'm pregnant, or do I not tell them, right? There's many different ways that could play out. But we'll see what the Oracle cards add to the mix. First, we have Blessed. There's the artwork for it, and the number there is 22. So, on the surface, that certainly looks like a good message, but let me read them off for you from the book. All right, it says, something wonderful that is unearned and unexpected, grace that is an unforeseen gift from Spirit. The Oracle's message, there are moments in life when, out of the blue, it seems that everything has been orchestrated by divine intervention. You feel blessed in ways that are difficult to express. It's as if the Red Sea parts in front of you and events come together to banish your troubles easily and naturally. You know deep down you did not deserve any of it, and yet here you are. This is one of those times. Let awe and gratitude for all your blessings guide you now. That's an interesting thing there too, because what I was saying with that fifth house energy, almost putting you in the spotlight in some way, right? That could be what this is pointing to as well. Judgment, right? All of a sudden, maybe it's something that you had hoped for at one point, but maybe you'd given up on the dream, right? With that Ten of Swords, and now all of a sudden, it's here. It's playing out in the flesh, and on the surface, you could be trying to play it cool, but you're really, there's some anxiety around that, right? Where you're like, okay, can I really trust this, right? With the Two of Swords and then the Nine of Wands. That's the whole thing, because to me, it says, oh, deep down, you did not deserve any of it. I wouldn't, that message is a little weird to me every time I read that, but I would say more of that could be like you feel like you might not, especially if it was something that you'd waited on for so long and you just, sometimes we tell ourselves after a certain amount of time, like, what, it just wasn't meant to happen, right? Then all of a sudden, poof, it happens. And now you have to shift your mindset from, oh, you know what, maybe I should start to believe in this again, right? That Nine of Cups energy. But with the Nine of Swords and the Seven of Cups, that shows me that you're still in some anxiety there. So if you can, easier said than done, I know, but try to, just stay positive and upbeat and trust these good things that are coming your way if that's what you're going through. All right, the relationship message says you are moving toward a deepening of intimacy in a unique and sacred partnership. You know you are meant to make this connection. This union, blessed by the divine, will bring transformation and beauty to the world. This is also a sign that, even more important, you're being called to a deeper intimacy with yourself and spirit. With this new development, you will see evidence of grace in your life. So the interesting thing there, that makes me think of, like I was saying, for some of you, this could be a crown chakra thing, especially with the Uranus transit in your sign and all of the activations that it's going to go through with all those planets moving through Virgo. Maybe that's part of what's at play as well. And, this can't even represent someone that you're with, right? Like I said, maybe if there was an abrupt ending of a relationship in the past, maybe this is them going through that experience and, they're coming back around. And maybe you're wondering, all right, well, they're saying all the right things, but can I trust them, right? Maybe that's what's going on there. The prosperity message says, unexpected windfalls and good fortune come your way now. You're in a phase where any difficulties or obstacles that have stymied your success seem to disappear on their own. Be ready to receive. The window of opportunity will open wide. Accept the blessings given to you now and don't forget to share them. So interesting energy there too, because again, that makes me think of the Empress energy, saying try to stay in that energy this month, right? Of being receptive and maybe try to stay out of this Four of Cups energy where, you're not open to accepting. And that Nine of Wands there as well, where you're almost, you're looking right at the blessings, but you're like, okay, can I really trust them? Like I said, if you can, try to stay out of that energy. Just accept the good things as they come. All right, and now the second oracle card you got from this deck is Peace. There's the artwork for it, and the number there is 23. So that's interesting as well. We had the 22 and 23. For those of you who've been watching my videos, I've used this deck forever, and I never reorder it before I shuffle, so shuffling for a while, so I don't know if I've ever seen the two cards come out back to back like that. But yeah, so here's the messages from this one. It says, freedom from attachment, radical acceptance. The Oracle's message, it doesn't get any better than this. A quiet mind, a heart fulfilled, freedom from want, and the soul's satisfaction. The way to peace is through radical acceptance. Everything in your world is exactly as it should be. Harmony is beautiful. Enjoy it. So again, I'm getting that vibe there. I don't want to keep repeating myself, but I feel like it's saying, you have that harmony, you can trust it. I feel like there is some anxiety around it. A relationship message says, when two people are in true alignment with one another, they have an innate harmony between them. They are as two perfectly tuned instruments playing together. Sometimes it's impossible to tell who is who. Peace is yours, and it is to be savored. I have to say, personally, for me, just the vibe that I was getting from this spread, I do feel like if there is a committed relationship on the table, I actually feel like you guys might actually be on two separate pages right now, but hopefully that will resonate for some of you. And maybe that's, like I said, maybe that's what that tower moment is. Maybe you guys have been on the outs, and maybe this tower moment is actually that person getting in alignment with you and you guys putting things back together. So hopefully that's the way it plays out for some of you. But yeah, like I said, for a lot of you, I feel like you two might be in totally different worlds right now. So I don't know. The prosperity message says, this is one of those times when you're capable of clear vision about your work and how you create your prosperity. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. You're called by a presence to step into your power. Just being is enough, for you are in peaceful harmony with spirit, and it shows in your work. So just being is enough, and stepping into your power, that makes me think of the Empress card that we see there. Like I said, that's basically a lot of times a card attributed to your sign. And then we have the Nine of Cups there as well, which is another energy of, being comfortable in your own skin, content. So that's a good message there. All right, now going on to your next oracle card from the Spirit Animal Oracle. We have Parrot Spirit. It says, watch your words. There's the artwork for it, and the number is 45. So before I even read that message, what I have to say is what the watch your words could be about there is this could be saying maybe there is an opportunity for something to come back around, and maybe it's saying the challenge or obstacle is you, possibly I don't want to say sabotaging it, but maybe this is someone coming back around or something coming back around, and maybe you're still a little bit jaded by the whole thing and you might be tempted to go off on them. But we'll see. We'll see what the actual message itself says. And the reason why I mentioned in the beginning that for those of you who were born on May 4th, this might resonate a bit more. We see the 45 there, depending on where you are in the world. Sometimes they put the day ahead of the month, so that made me think of May 4th. And then the 22 and 23, add those together, that's 45. Again, makes me think of May 4th. So that's what that was about. So let's read the message for this card. Oracle message. What are you saying to yourself? What message are you repeating? Is it something that makes you feel good about yourself and reminds you of your strengths and potential? Parrots mimic the sounds around them, and with parrot spirit appears, it is time to be more mindful of your self-talk and its qualities. What do you say to others? Are you repeating what you truly believe? Remembering to speak with light and love can become a habit. Be generous with compliments and thanks, affirming all that is good so that your loving, healing words will be heard throughout the jungle, cutting through the noise and inspiring others. Listen for the words that remind you of all the strength, abundance, and joy in your life and in the world around you, and then repeat them, affirming what is real, true, and nurturing to the soul. The universe will reflect back to you the story you tell. Words matter, so choose ones that lift you up and inspire others to remember that beauty surrounds us. So again, that makes me think of like what I've been saying a few times, the Empress on the surface, but beneath that we see the Two of Swords, right? In the outcome position, we see the Nine of Swords. Here we have the Nine of Wands. So basically, try to stand that Empress and Nine of Cups energy versus the Nine of Wands, Nine of Swords, Two of Swords energy, basically, So, and that was a vibe I was picking up too before we even read that card, which is to say, good things might start to happen around you, but you might have maybe gone through a rough stretch and to where you're like, you don't even believe it. You're like, all right, it seems too good to be true. What's going to happen? And then this could almost be a warning, which is to say, watch the way you do talk, even if it's to yourself around these situations, because then you might end up, bringing out that energy. So like I said, if that vibes with you too, definitely just, like I said, carry some black tourmaline around this month. It'll help ground you a bit. All right. And the last thing we have is a Mudra card. So for those of you who haven't been watching my videos, I basically pull a Mudra card for each of the signs every month. And what mudras are is they're hand gestures that you basically hold while meditating, usually a minimum of 5 minutes up to half hour to 45 minutes. But if you're not someone who normally meditates, 5 minutes is fine. This is your mudra for the month, and it's called the Mushti Mudra. And centering is the key word behind that. All right. So here's the information around it. If I could get it to focus. There we go. All right, and as you could see, not everything fits in a frame there, so I'll move it up so you could see the rest. But yeah, for benefits, it says reduces anxiety and nervousness, strengthens digestion and assimilation, eliminates nightmares, calms the mind, imparts a sense of centeredness within the body, reduces fatigue, and increases overall vitality. So yeah, it reduces anxiety and nervousness and eliminates nightmares. That could definitely help with that Two of Swords, Nine of Swords, Nine of Wands energy. So I'll put the name of this in the description as well for those of you who are interested in that, if you'd like to look into it some more. And we'll wrap up there, guys. I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.